We are recording, Mr.
We
Moon.
are recording. I have an email that says that someone logged into my OnlyFans account in another state, like two other states. I have like dual emails.
I
I don't have an OnlyFans
was
account.
gonna say you have an OnlyFans account. What?
I don't. So I was like, wait, this can't be real. But it says Christopher Moore, and I'm like, what? And it's my email. So some
Mm,
wackadoodle like made an account with my name and email to look at porn. I'm
you
so
should.
confused.
You
Like, I'm
no.
like,
I
this
mean,
must maybe
see
this
if
is
you
how
can
like
find them.
celebrities feel when people make fake Twitter or like Instagram. Maybe I've made it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's probably just pictures of poop.
It might be. Maybe my account is like off feet or something. I don't know. If you
it's
have an
it's
OnlyFans account, is
it's
that
foot and shit pictures.
it might be. Is that implied that my account is posting content, or is it assumed that you're just a viewer? Or I guess or both. I don't know.
Could be
But if you
both.
have a login and password, maybe you're
Well,
just looking at things. I don't know.
it
There's
could be
so many
both.
Chris Moores out there in the world, so maybe it's a mistake, but I feel like a little violated.
Yeah, you could be the naked person or the pervert. Either
Yeah,
way, it's highly believable. Anyways, we're gonna do
yeah.
this in three, two, one.
What are you doing?
Testes in my mouth.
Get on the ground, you fucking pledge!
Ew.
Welcome to the greatest podcast experience of your life. This is the FratChat Podcast.
All young men like three things: food, news, pussy.
Featuring Carlos Garcia and Chris Moore.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the greatest podcast in the history of podcasting time. It's the FratChat Podcast. I'm Carlos Garcia with CMO Moore. Catch him on OnlyFans. How's it going, Mr. Moore?
What's up, man? Coming to you live from OnlyFans with toys in my butthole. Chris Moore here.
If you donate $3.99 right now to Chris Moore's OnlyFans, it will have exactly $3.99. It's in its account.
Yeah, so if
He
you want
can
to
use it.
if you want to join, the first month is free, and then to renew, it's only a measly $5,000 per month after
That's
the
right.
first month. And I'm
That's
banking on the
right.
fact that you forget to not renew.
Cancel.
Yeah, they
That's
cancel
right.
you
That's how
to
they all make money.
unsubscribe. I think that's how people make money. They're like, if you forget to unsubscribe, then we're gonna like charge you out the fucking wazoo,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you just reminded me. I need to unsubscribe from some shit. I'm in way too many streaming services. I admit it, and it's bad. Like, it is really bad. I need to. Times are tough, ladies and gentlemen. I need to make some decisions. But now it's like the thing that they do that they're smart is that they'll each have like one or two shows or movies or something that you really want to see coming up, and it just keeps you on the hook just long enough for that. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like Netflix will be grandfathered in. I'll keep Netflix. Peacock is cheap, but then you get like things like Paramount Plus, which is just fucking expensive.
Okay, well, check this out. Someone logged into my Netflix account and changed the password too. This is happening a lot, so I think this is a big deal.
Oh, that means your password definitely got leaked somewhere. You need to go change your passwords everywhere.
And I use the same password for almost everything. Bank
Well, yeah,
account,
obviously, and that's why the
email.
hackers are taking all your shit.
I know. I can't remember. Like, there's so many like websites where you have to change your password every 3 months, update it. And I'm like, I can't remember all these. And I keep a list on my phone, but I'm like, man, like, there's just so many passwords and so many apps, and so everything's an app. When you work at my job, we have 3
Yeah,
apps you have to download immediately.
I
There's a
know.
Microsoft Authenticator app. There's like a timekeeping to clock in and out, and then there's another app to view your schedule. So there's
I
3
know,
apps out
man.
off the bat. And then if you want to add your company email, that's another app you have to use.
Yeah,
That's
and
optional.
that's why I don't mess with the corporate world, and the authenticators are the worst too. It's
Oh yeah.
fuck. You lose your phone too. You gotta log in, like you get logged out. It's like, shit.
Yeah.
Fucks your
You're
thing. It's like,
screwed.
so shitty, so shitty. I do not miss that, but yeah, I have. That's another thing. Way too many apps on my phone. So when you need something urgently and you're fucking scrolling through like a jackass and you can't find it, it's just not a good feeling. I hate it. Very stressful times. Like my front door has an app now, so if you want to use the app and you have it handy, you can just push a button and the front door opens right up, and it's so great. But if I was running for my life and I had to find the goddamn app, I'm dead. I'm getting stabbed at that door because it's gonna take me like hold on, like stop chasing me for a minute. Swipe. Nope, it's definitely not here. Swipe. Can you give me a minute? Can you put the knife down? It's hard to search when you have a knife down my fucking neck. Come on.
Yeah. Totes.
Swipe.
Exactly.
It's always the worst.
So this is off topic, but I want to know what your thoughts on this. So my mom like laid into me because I said to her, she's like, your birthday's coming up, and I'm gonna go visit my mom on my actual birthday and celebrate with her. And then my sister the next day, she and I are gonna go down to Ocean City, Maryland, just for a weekend.
Oh, nice.
And because when I turned 21, I went to Secrets and got arrested. So I'm gonna go back to Secrets, and hopefully not get arrested and make a good memory. But I feel like for like my biggest birthdays, I was at Secrets. So I think that is a nice tradition. And my sister has like a nice house in Ocean Pines near Ocean City.
Right.
Have you heard of that before? Ocean Pines?
Yeah, I haven't heard of Ocean Pines.
So it's like a 20-minute drive to like the boardwalk if you want. But anyway, so we're gonna do that. And
I will say, get there early. Secrets gets fucking packed. Like, the line gets crazy. The line is insane. So if you're not there by like a certain time, don't even bother.
Oh, and then listeners.
And last thing, sorry, people pee in the water. So just know that. You'll see that,
of course,
because it's like that. You're like, for those of you that have never been, it's in Ocean City, Maryland, and you're like, knee deep in water. You sit in this little table and shit. You'll notice that, or maybe like even waist deep, but everybody goes in and drinks the whole day, but no one goes to the bathroom. Why? I'll tell you why. Because they're peeing in the water.
And then they use that water to make these cocktails. It's called recycling. And this is why we recycle. So reduce, reuse, recycle. So
that's right. 3 R's.
So I was telling my mom about this, and she's like, well, what else do you want to do for your birthday? And I said, I think I want to like hit the gym some more. And I want to take, maybe not by my birthday, but at some point I want to take professional photos and say, this is 40. I want something to be proud of. And my mom was like, what? I say, I want to do like a professional photo. She's like, those are so stupid. And she's like, glamour shots back in the day were stupid. She's like, I don't want a wallet-sized photo of my 40-year-old son. I said, oh, well, I'm not going to get wallet size. She's like, well, when you go to a photo space, aren't they like profiting off of like whatever photos that you purchase? Like, I said, well, no, I think that also they know that in this digital age, we would just want like a stock photo for social media or something. And then I can print my own whenever I want to. She's like, I think it's weird. She's like, I don't know why. And I understand that you have to do a photo in high school for the yearbook. Like, I get it. But after that, like, you don't need professional photos. Like, just take a picture, have your friend take a picture with decent lighting and your iPhone and keep it moving. And I was like, is that like, is it nerdy? Am I like a big loser if I do a photo shoot at like a
dude,
like a
when your mom tells you you're a fucking loser if you do something, you listen to your mom. Your mom's calling you a fucking loser and you're questioning it, dude. That is the fucking what?
Now my friend did a photo
if you got
shoot.
Acting headshots, then that's cool, and you're using them for work. Sure, but what?
So my friend did like a beautiful like boudoir photo shoot.
Lame.
But she did it as like production photos for like a show. But she still has these like awesome photos that she can have. And I'm like, wow, there's
that's for sure.
Like I look back at my 20s and early 30s and I have a lot of like cool modeling pictures. So I'm like, oh wow, I'm proud of that. Like I wouldn't mind having that framed, even though people will find that narcissistic. It's something that I'm proud of. So like some people, they might have awards for whatever they do, or trophies or plaques or things like that, and they showcase it. That's great. Well, I have a lot of like cool photos that I've done that I worked really hard to look the way that I did in those photos. And like, I don't think that's wrong for me to want to showcase that in my home, but people are like, that is fucking like narcissistic, bro.
Yay!
Yay!
You should. We should do a FratChat podcast calendar. I've been getting in shape. You're getting old, so you want to
Yeah.
document it while it's still tight.
Tight. Nothing about me is tight. Nothing. I am damaged goods. Damaged.
Simo's asshole talks like, hello.
I fart like this. That's all I got. I'm damaged goods.
That's right. Simo poops out pancakes every day.
Yeah.
Every day. Yeah. No. Yeah, man, dude, get some headshots, or we could do something with FratChat, but don't just do like a 40-year-old. That's just like the saddest thing ever.
Yeah, my mom pretty much said that. She's like, I don't think that's a good idea.
And you've shat yourself, So come on.
She was like, are you gonna do funny ones like in like a fucking diaper or something? I'm like, no, I'm not doing stuff like that. I just want them in like just me in my underwear. And she's like, you might as well just wear a fucking diaper. I was like, I'm not wearing a diaper.
Wow. You should have your mom listen to this episode, because I have never agreed with a human being so hard in my life.
But when she said, I don't want a wallet-sized photo of my 40-year-old kid, that really took me out. I was like, ooh, ouch.
Yeah, that hurts, dude.
Oh my God.
Way to make it hit home.
She was honest. She's like, all the photos that I want and I care about are stored under my Photos app on my iPhone. Like, damn, my 68-year-old mother is schooling me on the importance of technology these days to not be wasteful. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, please don't do it. Please don't do it. But it's good to see it. Shout out to my mom. She's right. But anyways, it is now time for another edition of
Take
emails
a shit
from the listeners. Yes, take a shit. We'll be right back.
I thought it was a poo-poo break.
Yes, no, the poo-poo
Next
break
time
comes at the 18th minute. So, six more minutes. Anyways, we got emails from the listeners, you guys, and we got some good ones this week. Let's see. I'll start this week.
Okay.
I'll get us going. I was just gonna say, because I'm very proud of this one. This one comes from Miami, and this guy definitely either dates a Venezuelan or has been around them. Even though there's a lot of Venezuelans in Miami, but he knows about arepas, which is a Venezuelan thing, and it's basically like you make this dough ball and then you smash it down and then you fry it and shit, and then you cut into it and then you stuff it with like ham, cheese, or
like
chicken,
a pita.
Yeah, like but it's like
more like a pancake texture.
The pancake, it's like a crispy on the outside, doughy on the inside type thing. It's like a round empanada would be the closest thing that I can.
I've had those before, and there's a lot of really great restaurants, Colombian restaurants specifically in Park
Colombians
Slope,
have
on like Fifth Avenue, and yeah, but I have always associated arepas with Colombian culture, so I didn't realize that Venezuela is like gunning for like top arepa in the world.
Oh, well, we invented them.
So it's a Venezuelan thing.
That's right.
Would a Colombian agree with you?
They wouldn't. It's like a big thing.
Okay,
but it's our natives invented that shit.
Oh, gross. We call them Canadians at my house. Just kidding.
And then they started, the thing is, Colombia and Venezuela are neighbors. And at one point, it was even one country. Like originally, when it was funded, it was all Gran Colombia. And then it got split into the whole thing. But I digress because that was later in history.
But can I
But
just say,
originally
I forget.
tribes, we think that we invented it, and they think that they invented it. And I'm pretty sure other countries that have arepas all claim that they invented it, but they're all slightly different, I will say. Colombian arepas are very good, but I like ours better. But
So
I
I
think I'm
didn't
obviously
know
biased.
that Venezuela and Colombia were one country or one unit at one point.
Yeah.
That's new information for me. And I forget that there is a lot of world history out there that is not involved with American history. But I feel like in public school, they focus so much on American history, and global world history was always like an elective you could choose,
Yeah.
but it wasn't mandatory. And so I'm a little embarrassed. Like I really don't know anything about South American history, and I think that's the way that like MAGA, Trump loving weirdos want it. They want us to just focus on American history because that's the most important. But
I
we're a
will
small
say
country. We're
it
a
would be
young
tough.
country.
It would be tough to teach high school kids all this shit. Like you gotta like want to learn that shit because they're already not listening to their own history. Now you're gonna throw in like fucking history about some other country. So I get it. It's a lot to stuff into someone's brain. That's why it's good to have it as an elective. And then in college, you can fucking major in that shit if you're interested in history. But so Venezuela was funded when it was discovered. It was discovered by an Italian. I think it was Domenico Vespucci, and he named it after Venice because he saw that these natives were living in these like huts that were above water. So he named it after Little Venice, essentially. That's Venezuela. So then, when Simon Bolivar, our liberator, frees us from the Spanish, he had the vision of it like being like a U.S. type of thing, United States situation. So Colombia, Venezuela, everything, it was all Gran Colombia. So then it all lived under that for a few years, but then eventually it all separated again. But the natives didn't, they had their own tribes and shit, just like it would have over here. But anyways, we went very far to get to this email.
Sorry, arepa.
Rob from Miami, and he says, "Hey Carlos, I've been thinking about this one for a while, and I just have to know: are arepas really better than burgers? Like, if I gave you a burger, would you just throw it in the trash and be like, nah, I'll have an arepa with some queso and carne? Thanks." So, okay. I've heard a lot about Venezuelan food, and I'm starting to think maybe arepas are the secret weapon in the ultimate food battle. But I need your expert opinion on this. Could an American burger even compete, or is that like trying to pit a potato against a golden retriever puppy in a race? Wow. Also, bonus question: are you secretly smuggling arepa making supplies into the U.S. or what?
Yes.
I need that insider info, man. Looking forward to hearing your take on this national debate, and if you say burger wins, I'll be severely disappointed. Best, Rob from Miami. Thank you for accusing me of smuggling things into the country. That's not fucking racist or anything, you piece of shit. Fuck you, Rob. I hate you. Show's over. I'm out of here. No, thank you, Rob. I will say I love them both equally, but in totally different ways. It'll be like making me choose between my two sons because they're literally my two favorite things in the world: is an arepa or a burger. And like today, we might even get a burger after the show. It's they both equally make me excited. Like for example, there was two feelings that I can never go back to as a kid, but I wish I could. It was waking up on a Sunday, and when my dad had made arepas with like eggs and shit, and ham and cheese, and you stuff that all in there, and you fucking have it for breakfast. Getting hungry just thinking about it. Or being taken to McDonald's as a kid. Those are the two equal feelings of like, yeah. Anyway, so I can't say one's better than the other, but I can't say one's worse than the other.
Yeah, I have a random question. McDonald's. I was so motivated by toys as a kid. I would pick the box of cereal because it had a toy listed on the front or the back of the box. It would say inside at the bottom of this box you have like this little glow in the dark figurine or whatever. So with McDonald's, I think that they were so smart to market a Happy Meal with a little toy that came with it, and normally the toys would coincide with whatever recent movie was out, you know, and so like what brilliant marketing that they had. Now, as a kid, I know you are so partial to McDonald's, but do you think that the
Right.
little toy had a contributing factor to your love for McDonald's? Because would it have been that big of a difference if your parents took you to like Wendy's or Burger King or I don't know, Roy Rogers, Hardee's, things like that?
I will say in Venezuela, we got Wendy's later.
Okay.
We didn't quite have it for a few years. Burger King was around, but we didn't have one nearby. So that was really like the thing. Like McDonald's was just the one that I was exposed to.
Just
So I think
availability.
it was my first, you know. But if my parents took me to Burger King, no big deal. Because
Okay.
here's the thing: as much as I loved like the toy and the Happy Meal, I started ordering the Big Mac and shit when I was like 8.
Oh,
9.
really?
Yeah, I was eating like the adult shit.
That's so
If you
funny.
got me the toy, awesome, fuck yeah, still loved it. But
Honestly, I don't think I've ever had a Big Mac or quarter pounder.
so good, you know.
I'm happy with just a plain hamburger. I'll eat like 3 of those.
And I was great with the Whopper too. I love a Whopper with cheese. It's fucking fantastic. They're both great, and I love Wendy's as well. It's like I don't give a fuck, but I think since McDonald's was like my first one, that's the one I go back to. But we had something in Venezuela called a cheapies, which was kind of like a Fuddruckers. In the sense that you would order your burger up front and they would like, you know, grill it up there. You would watch them do it. And then you get the burger and then you go over there and there's like the topping station. And you can put whatever you want on your burger. They have, you know, lettuce, tomato, pickles, melted cheese, all kinds of shit. And you can put it on your French fries too, you know, bacon, all kinds of fucking bullshit. And it was like all the sauces too. So, and it was like the greatest thing ever. So like we love going to that too. But Fuddruckers in America is one that I think is highly underrated because you can get a fucking 1 pound burger, which is wild.
Yeah.
And there's places that if you eat a 1 pound burger, they put your name on the wall. Not there.
But listeners, if you think about it, like a whole pound of meat is enough. A ground beef is enough to make like a family's worth of like meat sauce and spaghetti. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's enough to make like maybe 4 decent sized burgers, I guess.
Yep.
So a whole pound of meat is a lot of meat.
It's a lot of fucking meat. And then especially you add the bread and you add whatever topping you put on there. Like if you do melted cheese or even just regular cheese, it takes a bunch of slices to cover that. You know, so it all adds up. And so that with fries, and then you can get milkshakes too. You leave like, oh
yeah.
But that's how I like it, baby.
And that's why obesity is rising amongst American youth because of McDonald's.
Your delicious choices.
So would you consider arepa to be like a sandwich?
Yeah.
Would you put in the same category? Would you consider a hot dog to be a sandwich because it's meat between two? Okay. And then would you consider a burrito to be a sandwich because it's meat wrapped up in
it's a
carbs?
wrap.
Okay, so a wrap is not a sandwich.
Correct.
But arepa is, hot dogs are, and maybe even like a pita would be a sandwich too, I guess, right?
Yes, you can do a pita sandwich. Correct.
Okay, because I was going to say that like it's not fair.
But you can also do a pita wrap because there are pita wraps.
Oh yeah,
it just depends on.
I was going to say like I don't think it's fair to compare like arepa to a burger because it's 2 different genres, but they're both in the world of sandwiches. I guess it's okay. Would you consider a taco a sandwich?
No, it's still more in the wrap category.
Okay, so tacos, burritos, wraps are all like in its own world.
Yeah, and like quesadillas. It's all made from wraps.
See, I group all of that stuff together because it all gives me buffalo butt. It all gives me shits.
Well, to be fair,
McDonald's, like
that's a wide category of items.
Yeah.
That's a wide net.
Yeah.
But anywho, sorry, Rob. You can't ask me to choose between those two. But I appreciate the question. I love them.
Well, I think what Rob really wants to know is what types of things have you smuggled into the United States?
Yeah, I think Rob is an ICE agent, and I do not feel comfortable answering things, so I'm just gonna move on. But what you got, Mr. Mount?
He wants to know what damaging tattoos he can report.
That's right. And if I can hold my fist out to the camera so they can Photoshop MS-13 on it.
I was watching TikTok videos, so I don't know if this is true, but I think that Trump is like announcing, or maybe have already announced, an app that if you are here illegally or overstayed your welcome, or overstayed your visa, that you can like report yourself or like go to the airport and get a free ticket back to like your country of origin or something. Have you heard about this?
No, that's ridiculous. I would not trust that as far as I can
Maybe
tell
I don't
you.
know if that's real. I saw it on TikTok, but I was like, is this real? Like, what the fuck?
I wouldn't
Um,
put it past him, but I still would not trust that man. Fuck no. And then you go to the airport, and then the fucking ICE van is waiting there with some shackles, ready to fucking stick them up your ass and send you to El Salvador or Rwanda, which is what they're fucking trying to do now.
well, I just
Okay.
want to say to Rob from Miami, you seem awfully interested in Venezuelan culture. And I wonder what kind of commission you think you're going to get by
It's
turning in a Venezuelan.
very suspicious. That's right.
Um,
Anyways,
anyway,
keep.
so I got an email here. The subject reads, Chris, I've got a real important question. Laughing face emoji. Hey, Chris.
By the way, that's not a
Okay.
funny. That's not. I don't think that warrants that. You know, and we know funny. I'm a comedian. I feel like if you just laugh at everything, it loses the
Oh.
meaning. You got a real important question. But like, I just
All right,
always
so let's see
pressure
how
it.
offensive this
Anyways.
is going to be. Okay, this says, okay, I've been dying to ask you, do
Oh,
gay guys actually always have a better sense of style, or is that
mm,
just a stereotype that's been totally proven true? Because every time I see someone pulling off the most ridiculous perfect outfit, I swear it's always a gay guy. It's like there's some secret fashion gene you guys have. And if there is a magical style gene, what's your go to tip for someone like me who wears the same hoodie every day and struggles to match socks? Is there, I'm sorry, let me just say, if you struggle to match socks, and you might be stupid. You kidding me? You can't match.
I don't
What?
struggle to match them. I just lose them, and I, just like, close enough. Wait,
Because I feel like, you know, you, in like little kids books like highlights, it's like, okay, what's the differences between these two pictures? If a 4-year-old can like spot the differences, then I think that like an adult can put a pair of socks together.
right.
So this is Greg from Seattle. Greg, I hope you're being sarcastic with that because I'm a little nervous. Okay, so he also writes, is there a trick to making a basic tee look fancy, or is it all about the attitude? I need to know if I've been missing out on some hidden style rules all these years. Can't wait for your expert advice. Sincerely, Greg in Seattle, a guy who has never owned a pair of shoes that didn't come from a box at Walmart. Okay, there's a few things. For one, you can buy shoes from Walmart, Target, wherever, and dress up, make it look nice.
Yeah,
Now,
there's
now I
nothing
don't
wrong with
know how
that.
long they'll hold up because I'm not sure if Walmart is really investing in like quality materials, but I don't know how comfortable it will be. But like, if you are looking for a look for less, or if you're going to a wedding and you never dress up, then yeah, buy some shoes at Walmart and be proud of it. Like I don't blame you. So I don't know if I'm an expert when it comes to fashion simply because I'm gay. I have a lot of gay friends that look like dogs and don't dress for shit. So I don't know. I yes, it is a stereotype. And when I go to Europe, I'm reminded of how unfashionable Americans are. Now we live in New York, and I live in New York. Carlos lives in the armpit of America. But
Whoa.
in New York is known for being super fashion forward, and yep, there's a good bit. But I think overall in America, we are subpar, below adequate when it comes to fashion, because especially for men. Because when I go to Italy, I've gone there a few times for work, and in Italy, I have to say I'm so impressed with men's fashion. Like they have like plaid, or like some sort of um like dress pants. Maybe they're wool, and they always have like a nice scarf and a blazer for every day of the week, and like nice Italian shoes, and they're not gay. They just look nice. And so I think that Americans in general suck when it comes to fashion compared to like people abroad. I think that there's a stereotype regarding gay men in fashion. I think it's simply because gay men normally, and there's always exceptions, but most gay men don't have children, so they have extra income to splurge on these like fashionable pieces that like a lot of us would maybe ignore because we don't think that it's practical to invest so much money on a clothing item, whereas we should be investing in like savings or for our kids or for like, whatever. So
Right.
does that make sense?
Yeah.
What do you
Totally.
think? Would you consider me
Well,
super fashionable? I don't think so. I think I'm kind of an average Joe when it comes to fashion.
well, to be fair, it's tough because you're probably fashionable compared to my straight friends, but compared to the gays are pretty fashionable. This dude's definitely onto something. Like I make a T-shirt fashionable, by removing the mustard stain from it. Clean, good to go.
What is the mustard
Boom.
stain? Is that a mustard stain or are you lactating?
That's right.
I yearn to lactate
Are
myself.
you
I can't wait to
lactating or
that
just
day.
happy to see me? Ah. So I'm with Greg, and I also uh, I would hope that he's in the same situation as me. Like I said, I'll lose a pair, like I'll lose a sock, but then the other one that's left is a perfectly nice sock. And if it's like a white sock, I'll just match it with the next white sock that I lose and keep it like that and wear it to like the gym or something. You know what I mean? And then once they would get like frumpy, I throw them away. But I feel like there's always, with socks, you always put 10 in the dryer and 9 come out. It's just what always fucking
Yeah,
happens. And
I
I
understand
was
that.
searching the little thing, but the fucking little sock drawers come in and steal our socks. But I would say you can make a t-shirt fashionable though. You just like Simo said, throw a blazer on that shit. If you wear like nice jeans or dress pants and a t-shirt and a blazer, it looks nice as fuck. You look cool as shit.
Do you know who has really good
Throw
quality
some
t-shirts?
sunglasses.
Uniqlo, and they're like thicker material, and
Oh,
I think that uh if you're gonna buy a 3-pack of Hanes like undershirts that are really thin and almost basically see-through, and try to wear those year after year after year, if they're starting to become like almost like yellow in color and they're
yeah, they do.
stretched
The
out and they're
yellow.
shapeless and that's you can't make that fashionable. That's
No,
bad news.
totally,
Like a
totally.
like
That's
a
the thing.
worn out, stretched out white beater under a blazer is not fashionable. So I think as
No,
long as it's a
totally.
t-shirt, if it's white, if it's a crisp white and it's a decent material, then yeah, you can even tuck it into a pair of like wide leg jeans with a belt and like look good, you
Totally.
know?
Totally. Yeah, with white tees particularly, like you barely, if it's a nice white tee, you can wash them really fine. But for the most part, if you're just getting a normal one, like a Hanes, you wear it once and after that, chug that shit out. It's not gonna you're gonna sweat and it'll never look the same. But if you have like black tees or colored tees, I have to say they hold out a little longer, so you can use them.
Yeah.
But the white tees, you sweat once, and if you wear deodorant, that's it. It's game over. Because that deodorant sweat turns it yellow immediately. So
Yeah.
use it, chuck them, keep them as undershirts if you want, or just sleep in, but don't wear them out in public anymore.
I tear them up and use them as like dust rags, like my mom used to do. I
Yeah,
turn
dude,
into
I
my
do. I do
mother.
the same thing. I do the exact same thing. I cut them up, use them for the floor too.
Yep.
Throw them shits out. But anyways, shout out to Greg from Seattle. And I'm not gonna lie.
Is Seattle in Oregon or Washington? Washington, I think.
I
Seattle,
mean, yeah,
Washington.
Washington, and there's quite a big gay community in Seattle. And I'm not gonna lie, if I don't know any better, I think Greg was asking you questions about your closet from his closet. If you know what I
Maybe.
mean.
Hey, Greg, let's make out, bruh.
that,
No, I
that emoji usage over there, the little dress and the shoe. I'm just like,
oh, I
eh.
totally, I totally skipped that. Oh, he's a
Yeah.
emoji using homo, and I love him for it. Um, I always forget. I always mix up Portland and Seattle. So Portland's in Oregon, and Seattle's in Washington,
Yes.
and they're both super like progressive, right?
Yeah, pretty good.
I
Pretty
think
good.
that Portland and Seattle are both known for being like super proactive with like composting and like recycling and things like that.
Very
We
nice.
recycle in New York because we get fined if we don't. So if I put anything that's metal or plastic in my trash and if they catch me, I get a citation. I think it's like
Really?
$100 or something. Yeah.
Wow. They don't search here, but we recycle. just because we.
Well, the building manager
care.
gets fined, not me.
Oh,
So your building would get fined,
Well,
not you
and my
individually.
building here, I have to say the new landlord, since they took over, they actually have like different recycling areas. So it's now it's not just like you can put cardboard boxes in one thing and then like cans in one thing and then your regular trash in the other. So they do make it easier to split up, which is nice. They make an effort. But in Venezuela, I don't think I've ever heard of anyone recycling. I think they'd laugh at you if you said, "Is there someone to recycle this, sir?" Like, yeah, just throw
They'd
it
be
out
like,
the window.
"Fuck you." You know what? My mom's way of recycling when we were younger is
Oh, I've
like,
heard your mom's way of recycling. Here, hold this bag.
well, bags were always used for like bathroom trash cans, whatever. So we always had like bag within bag within bag. Like we had a
Yeah.
million grocery bags, you know,
Yep,
from
always.
like Giant or Safeway or whatever, Farm Fresh, Mars. So then we also, I feel like in my fridge at any given time there were a million, I can't believe it's not butter, plastic containers.
Totally same.
That were once filled with margarine, but now we're like green
Tomato
beans or corn or like mashed
sauce.
potatoes or tomatoes.
Yeah.
Who knew? So we had that, and then like let's say we had a 2-gallon um uh uh, milk bottle in the fridge. Once that was empty, we would use that 2-gallon to like water our plants outside instead of like a
That's yeah,
watering
totally.
pail of some sort.
That's smart.
So we had our own way of like reusing things and whatever.
I feel like it's
But,
a very 90s thing. Like now you don't see people having like the giant bag of plastic bags in every kitchen. Like even when Jersey made the switch here from plastic bags to like the ones you bring from home and shit.
reusable, yeah.
I remember I had a closet with still maybe like 100, maybe even 110 bags, all just stuffed in there.
Yeah.
Like I would have to like punch them in to close the thing, and just over time, over over a few months, it dwindled down and and eventually I remember it being like, it's the last bag. Wow, it's like the death of a generation.
Oh yeah,
All in my
man.
closet.
I remember going to a friend's house and they had this like matching like glass Tupperware, and I was like, "Oh, you fancy?" Because at my house we just have various colors of I can't believe it's not butter, or we would use old Fisher's popcorn plastic containers as
Yeah,
Tupperware. Remember, Fisher's popcorn would come in these plastic containers in various
yeah,
sizes,
buddy.
like
Yeah,
a quart
buddy.
or a gallon. That's what we
Those-
used.
Those were the days. Oh, I miss it. Anywho,
Well, what's going on in the news right
let's
now?
keep it moving because things are getting spicy up in here. Isn't that right, Timmy? Timmy,
Oh my God.
I tried. I said I'm going to do one
Don't
more
even
time.
ask him anything else.
I'm gonna say I'm
Nothing.
gonna
He
do
missed
one
this
more time.
opportunity.
I'll just hit it myself. Hit it. So yeah, things are getting spicy up in here in my neck of the woods because Newark's mayor, Ras Baraka, was arrested outside of a U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, aka ICE, facility earlier yesterday, arguing that he was being targeted after visiting the New Jersey detention center with 3 Democratic members of Congress, which he definitely was if you fucking watch the footage. He said, nothing happened for a long, long time, for at least over an hour. And then, after that, they basically told us to leave, and I told him I was leaving. They came outside the gate and arrested me, he said during his appearance on MSNBC's The Briefing on Friday night. So it looked like I was targeted. He later added that ICE officials obviously targeted me. I wasn't the only one out there. They came directly to me and tried to arrest me. No one else. Me. The mayor told host and former White House press secretary Jen Psaki. And so I honestly believe, I was targeted. Tell us again. Do you believe you were targeted? Alina Habba, interim U.S. attorney for the District of New Jersey, justified the administration's moves, claiming the mayor committed trespass and ignored multiple warnings from Homeland Security investigations to remove himself from Delaney Hall ICE Detention Center. He has willingly chosen to disregard the law that will not stand in this state. He has been taken into custody, she wrote in a post on Twitter/X. Baraka defended his presence at the facility, saying he was not there to protest, but to participate in a press conference regarding state congressional delegation, including Representatives Bonnie Watson Coleman, Rob Menendez, LaMonica McIver, and which they're all Democrats. Watson Coleman said the trio was there to inspect the facility, not tour the place. Federal officials got into a back and forth with lawmakers and ended up arresting the mayor, who later appeared before U.S. Magistrate Judge Andrew Espinosa, according to court documents. The Department of Homeland Security accused a group of protesters, along with Menendez and Watson Coleman, of storming the gate and breaking into the detention facility. Wow. The irony, and saying members of Congress storming into a detention facility goes beyond a bizarre political stunt and puts the safety of law enforcement agents and detainees at risk. Members of Congress are not above the law and cannot illegally break into detention facilities, DHS Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin said on Friday. Had these members requested a tour, we would have facilitated a tour of the facility. This is an evolving situation. This is crazy. Dude.
I see both sides, and I know that people are not gonna like my response, but like I feel like I had to be very I had to be consistent and fair. And if I didn't like when people storm the Capitol, then I don't think it's fair to like break into a facility
but
that
they
you're not allowed
didn't
to
storm anything. They were there, like literally standing around, dude.
Yeah.
That's
So, but I think that if you're not supposed to be trespassing, you trespass, then like it's almost performative if you're like antagonizing officials to get arrested, so you can say you got arrested and you can get some publicity out of it. So I don't know. I don't know. I wasn't there, but but I do see both sides, because I definitely am on the side of like, ICE agents are shit, and this deportation initiative with this administration is really sad, and they're I think it lacks
animals.
morale, and so I
assholes.
definitely I want to support anyone fighting against them, but I think that's the right and the wrong way. And so like if you weren't supposed to be in that facility and you managed to get in there without permission, then
my thing is he's the mayor of Newark, and this happened in Newark. It's his city. You know what I mean? If you guys are doing illegal things in a detention center in his city, if anybody has a right to fucking check it out, it's the fucking mayor of Newark. So I'm glad that he's at least calling attention that these things are happening in his city, which I think is why really he's taking the risk, because hopefully they're not going to kill him in detention like they would a normal citizen. So I think he's taking one for the team, so he can call ICE to this. But yeah, the way that ICE is doing things right now is literally like some fucking Third Reich shit,
When you say the way ICE is doing things, it almost sounds like you're saying the way ISIS, which I think are probably two very comparable organizations.
Yeah, right. The way they're handling their business these days. Unfortunately, good Lord, it's man, it's scary.
They're both really scary organizations.
It's
I
really
would be
bad.
so embarrassed to say that me or like a loved one was associated with ICE in any capacity.
Yeah, it's so fucking
almost
lame.
as embarrassing as it would be to wear a MAGA hat.
Ooh, yeah. They're definitely toss-ups, but yeah, man. And now we gotta get our real IDs and shit, and our pinky promise IDs, and fingers crossed, hope to die, stick a needle in my eyes IDs and shit, so we can travel without a passport. It's shit's so annoying. It's like, what the fuck was the other ID that I had? Was it a fake ID?
Apparently.
Like, what? What's the difference between this ID and that ID? My ID, the ID scans. This new ID, does it have my blood in it? Like, stab your finger. Ah! That's how it's done. Like, what the fuck? What is the difference?
Back in the day, Mayor de Blasio, the real tall guy, Mayor de Blasio, and Andrew Cuomo, who,
Right.
touchy-feely Uncle Cuomo, they didn't get along too well. And so there's some initiative that were like people were encouraged to get like a state ID if you didn't have a driver's license, like to get into bars and things. But then under Cuomo, he was like, no, like that's not a valid form of ID, or maybe it's vice versa. But I just know that whenever my husband, before he got his green card, he wouldn't walk around with his passport. His passport was kept in a safe space at a safe place at
Yeah,
home, but he would walk
totally.
around with the state ID, and it wasn't accepted at a lot of bars for scanning or whatnot in New York. So they were like, we need a driver's license or a passport, but this is not a valid form of ID. So a lot of places would not accept it, and it all comes down to just the pissing contest between de Blasio and Cuomo.
That's so stupid. Neither of them are in power now. Suckers.
Yeah.
Anyways, keep this bad boy moving, because now we have another edition of Not the Drag Queens.
Not the drag queens.
It's not the drag queens, because it's never the drag queens. It's always the other guys. Because a Minnesota State Patrol trooper has been charged with first-degree criminal sexual conduct of an infant. Oh, boy.
What?
According to a criminal complaint filed in Scott County on Friday. Last week, the U.S. Attorney's Office announced they had filed a federal charge of production of child pornography against Jeremy Francis Plonsky, 29 years old. The criminal complaint filed in state court gives the following information from prosecutors. On Wednesday, FBI special agents in Houston began forensically analyzing a cell phone in an investigation into child sexual abuse materials. Federal law enforcement identified Plonsky as the person who produced the materials. Law enforcement found several videos that showed Plonsky sexually assaulting an infant girl. His and the child's faces were fully visible in the video, and the file name suggested it was recorded on April 19th, 2023. The FBI then arrested the man on last week, and a Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension special agent assisted FBI special agents in interviewing him. Plonsky said he started a relationship with a user on the social media platform Kick in 2022. The two engaged in a dominant, submissive relationship where Plonsky was submissive, the complaint said. Eventually, that user instructed Plonsky to send videos of him performing sexual acts on the infant, whose relationship to Plonsky wasn't specified in the complaint. Ew, so he just found it. Ew. Plonsky told law enforcement he sent 4 or 5 videos of him sexually assaulting the infant in his home in Shakopee.
So we don't know if it's his child or his niece, or we don't know. But it's probably family.
Yeah, I'm sure. He said after recording and sending the 4 or 5 incidents, which he believed was sometime in 2022, he ceased all sexual contact with victim and has not touched her since. Oh yeah, what a great person. The FBI criminal complaint said the acts took place between about 2022 through May 2023. Acting U.S. Attorney for Minnesota, Lisa Kirkpatrick, in a statement, while donning his uniform, Plonsky committed one of the most vile and predatory offenses imaginable. So not only was he a Minnesota State Patrol trooper, but if you look through his social media, what is he? MAGA! Another one.
People have so much to say about like this queer agenda, but if I had the option, if I had children and there was an emergency and I needed a babysitter, I would welcome a queer person at home quicker than, I would welcome a queer person at my home immediately, but a lot quicker than I would ever consider a MAGA person, because statistically, like you've got like all these MAGA weirdos, and it's always been from like mega churches and like touching kiddos. If some person from some religious organization said that I have a daycare in my house, I would say absolutely not. I'm sorry,
Nope.
but like you
I'd
don't
be
have a good
like,
track
creep.
record. If a
Call the
priest was
FBI
like,
on you, creep.
if a priest was like, I'll tutor your kid, I'll say you won't be anywhere close to my kid. Not saying that all
Yeah,
priests are bad, but I'm sorry, but there's just too many instances, and I
totally.
just rather just trust statistics. But I don't know of any like drag queens or I guess queer people who have um been accused and convicted of like sexual assault. I think it's unfair when sometimes like let's say Jared Fogle, if he um assaulted a child of the same sex, then
Right.
sometimes I wonder if they're grouped in the category of being a queer deviant as opposed to just a pedophile, because I think that's unfair to put them in association with queer people. Do you know what I mean?
That's fair. That's definitely
So
fair.
I
Now,
I it's just so
I
disappointing.
just feel like it's just so funny that they're so worried about drag queens reading to kids and not MAGAs touching their kids. It's like, come on, dude.
Yeah, in some of these states, like they should be concerned with the fact that their kids can't read. So why are you
Right.
going to like focus on, restricting literature when like they can't read literature? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like where's the
Yeah.
priorities here? I also think that I don't know what like long-term effects that poor infant may have from this. I'm hoping that they won't remembering this and this won't affect their like developing of any sort, but
Totally.
uh I was thinking to myself, I'm so glad this guy is caught and like behind bars because infants aren't able to communicate that they're being abused, and so
Mhm.
if it wasn't for however this getting leaked or whatever, like he might still be out there doing this. And then I also think to myself, even if you are of age where you can communicate that there's abuse, a lot of kids don't because they're so scared, and like there's just a whole nother level of just sick crazy to assault a minor.
Mhm.
You shouldn't assault anyone, but specifically like a minor. This affects their like whole future. It's
Yeah.
so
What a
sad to
fuck.
me,
Especially
and
if
so
there's
it's
some weird kinky relationship on a chat. Like
oh yeah.
what a
So
fucking
for like
loser and a fucking weirdo pedophile. Ugh. Fuck
so
that
when
guy.
MAGA is like, you guys really have to focus on like the perversion of the queer community, specifically like drag queens and like trans people. When they say, you got watch out for these people going to the bathrooms, watch out for your kids, hide your wife, whatever. It's
Yeah.
so
Right.
upsetting to me because it's like you always say, the call is coming from within the house, like it's within your own community, you're not
Yeah.
acknowledging it, like you guys are the problem statistically. Like every like mega church probably has a handful of like like
The call is
diddlers,
coming from inside the house. Run, Timmy, run! It's your MAGA cousin Steve. He's gonna hear diddled you. Ah! Ew, why are you letting him? Ew, Timmy. Ew.
Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always coming from inside the house. Boy. Yeah. Well, that was another enlightening edition of Not the Drag Queens. And
It's never the drag queens, they're
I
all
am kind of
angels.
laughing. And now, last week we were talking about how Oklahoma is going to teach in school curriculums kids to look at irregularities in the 2020 election. And I was so upset about it. But now I'm like, ha! You're gonna say those kids can't even read. You're gonna fucking have them look into
They have some
election
of the
numbers.
lowest test scores in America.
That shit's gonna be a shit show.
With public education, literacy in America should be 100% hands down. It should be
Yeah.
100% literacy rate. Now I understand that there's some communities, like I'm just gonna say it. I don't really respect some of these communities that aren't told that their children had to go to school. So like in like Lancaster, Pennsylvania, everyone's like, Chris, you're discriminatory. That's your culture. I don't give a flying fuck whose culture it is. If you've got kids in these Amish communities scooping ice cream for a living, at the age of 6, instead of knowing how to read a book and like knowing their colors and shapes and like learning about the world, that's a huge example of child abuse in my opinion. And so
Hey, the
like
Amish
like
can build a house by the time they're 6. The Oklahoma kid, on the other hand, I don't know.
Got a
I can
lot of
just see that.
homeschooling across the world, and sometimes homeschooling. I'm sorry, across the United States. Sometimes homeschooling, I think, is an attempt to get the older kids to stay home and watch the younger kids.
Yeah.
I think that uh there's unfortunately we're never gonna have 100% literacy rate because there's some shit parents out there and some shit communities that don't embrace education and aren't held accountable. I don't know why like the government doesn't say like you have to make your kids go to school. Like you have to like every kid has to test at this percentage, you know what I mean, on these like standardized tests. Like we have to embrace education. It's crazy to me. But with
However,
all
I
this,
feel
there's
like
still homeless in the worst.
homeschooling would fucking suck. Unless your teacher's hot. Am I right? Yeah. I just high five myself. Yeah. Good times. Yeah, no. I can just imagine little Timmy in Oklahoma, and the teacher's like, "All right, kids, we're gonna need you to read this here election results and tell us what's irregular about it." And little Timmy's like, "Hey, teacher, what's that say?" 2020. Okay, how about that one? Election. How about that one? God damn it, that's your name, Jimmy. So yeah, no, they're not gonna find shit. But anyways, that was not the drag queens. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to get to it. So before you do, if you're sitting in the car, if you need to pee or anything, go ahead, stop what we'll stop what we're doing right now. We'll wait. We'll just wait for you guys. Go ahead. Go on. Yeah, start off the car. Go into the gas station, get yourself a snacky, take a little tinkle, whatever, get back in your car.
Rub one out.
That's right. We'll be
yank
here.
it.
Well, those last two are crimes, but do it at your own risk.
Or not.
But it is time to get to it. Because this week we have a crazy topic. We have an insane topic because
we're going to teach you how to circumcise at home.
That's right. Self-circumcise in 2 easy snips.
Yes.
You just need one friend to hold and one friend to snip and a glass of wine.
And remember, pictures or it didn't happen.
That's right. However, when we step into the wild, we imagine beauty, peace, freedom. However, nature does not offer safety. Oh no. It offers power. And in rare moments, it reminds us who is really in control. So we have 10 true stories of human lives violently colliding with the animal kingdom. Oh yeah. We have the top 10 craziest animal attacks right here at the FratChat Podcast. And this shit is not just going to make you scared to go into the ocean. It's going to make you scared to go fucking anywhere.
Yeah, really.
Oh, man, because this list is good. This list is haunting. This shit is insane. And the craziest thing of it all, it's all true, baby.
Yeah, and I researched this last night, and I couldn't sleep last night.
I know. I did it too at like 1 a.m, and the next thing I know, I was like, God damn, because we read through a lot of stories to pick through the top 10 here. So there is a lot of shit in my brain now that I really wish it wasn't. So we got these 10 crazy stories for you guys, and I think Mr. Mo, you can get us started this week.
Well, I have a bonus one that doesn't really count, but I just think it's worth telling. So remember that movie called Snakes on a Plane with Samuel Jackson? There are motherfucking snakes.
Yeah, motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane. Of course.
So this isn't snakes, but it's involving a small crocodile. And so in 2010, there was a small passenger plane in Africa, and some passenger smuggled a crocodile in their carry-on. And while they were in flight, the crocodile crawled out, and the passengers all panicked. and they all jumped out of their seats and they rushed to the other side of the plane. And because the plane was so small, it threw the plane off balance, and then the pilots were able to control. And so 2 pilots and 18 passengers died, and 1 passenger survived to tell the story. But this plane literally crashed because people like freaked out about. I would freak out too. They all jumped on the other side of the plane
Yeah,
to
but
avoid this
fuck.
alligator.
I wonder if anybody has like, don't do that. You're gonna make the plane, man. Like,
I hope the alligator survived at the very least. You know,
they are
people would
tough.
say, "Oh, what about like TSA?" When you're in like parts of the world that might be a little underdeveloped, or if you're even on a
there's some
small
shitty
passenger
airports.
plane, like they're not investing in like high tech security. They're just
Totally. And
you
they
know
might
if
have
the
even paid someone to let it go
yeah I was gonna say
through.
like if the price is right, they'll fly whomever.
Yeah. And that's why, dude, I hate those little teeny tiny planes. I don't like being in them. I don't like being anywhere near them. I don't want anyone. I love to fly in them. Whenever I see that I have to fucking board those teeny tiny planes, I'm like, fuck. I hate them. And you feel everything on those things when they turn, when they get up. It's fucking awful. So
Did you see that helicopter? It was a family, I think, from Spain that were visiting, and they were getting like an architectural tour of New York, and a propeller or
oh
something
yeah,
broke, and then they just
yeah,
crashed immediately, and they all died in the Hudson,
yeah.
I
It just
guess.
happened. That was
Yeah,
like
just
right
recent.
across the street from us here. That
Yeah,
happened. That's what. And now they're
I
banning. They're looking at banning helicopter flights. I think it'll be the last one.
I am no longer. I have always wanted to do that. No more. Nope, not
Yeah.
interested. So some of these
After
things on this
Kobe,
list.
no more helicopters for me. If Kobe Bryant can die in a fucking nice ass helicopter, imagine what helicopter they put my ass in. Nuh-uh. I'm not gonna fucking take any chances with anything, especially because with a plane, especially those like dual engine planes. Like if something happens to the right engine, you can fly the plane with the left engine and land it.
Yeah,
Even if both engines go down, if the pilot is talented, he can still glide it and land that fucking plane. With a helicopter, if either one of the propeller things goes out, you're just crashing. Because one controls the up and one controls the steering, and you're just beat. Like there's nothing you can fucking do. So why the fuck would you even get in that thing? No way, dude. And like maybe if they had a parachute attached to them or something, but there's nothing that prevents that shit from just crashing, and you're in a teeny tiny capsule. It's like no, not for me. I don't like heights, and I don't like feeling unsafe. And a helicopter checks 2 of those boxes for me. So
fair.
not for me. But anyways, uh,
You will find me in a detention center before you'll find me in a helicopter.
yeah, I agree.
Gladly. Who wants to go first? You want to go first? Or me go first?
You can hit us with your first one.
Okay, so this one's really scary, and I never would think that monkeys being so close to humans in DNA. Like I think that monkeys probably have a personality, and I'm sure they can communicate and have like intellectual thought within the world of being a monkey. But this story to me proves to me that some animals are just vicious.
Yeah, I
And
mean, humans are assholes.
yeah, so just like humans, monkeys are assholes, and they are yeah, just evil. So this is a story about how a troop of wild monkeys in India snatched a baby from his family and tossed the baby from a third-story rooftop, killing him instantly. So apparently this family was on the rooftop of this home in India, and these monkeys swarmed this rooftop. And I don't know if maybe people were feeding the monkeys and they were hungry, or maybe they're just territorial in some capacity. But these little monkeys were vicious. And so this guy's wife managed to escape these crazy monkeys. But then the troop cornered him, and he was holding his newborn, well, not newborn, but this young son. So he tried to run off, but unfortunately he dropped his kid. Can you imagine? My God, he dropped his kid. And as soon as he did, one of the animals scooped up the baby and threw him off the roof. And this death comes just 1 month after another gang of monkeys in Tanzania snatched a 1-month-old baby from his breastfeeding mother. The boy, identified as Luhaiba, I think was his name, was eventually freed from the monkeys but died from injuries in the hospital. So like these like baby stealing like nasty monkeys, like that's hard. If there's a potential for a monkey to break into like an apartment or a house and like steal a kid, then like I let me tell you, any monkey comes close to my house, I'm gonna have a gun and I'm in the window waiting for it for target practice. Like that's horrifying. And I see videos of like monkeys taking people's bags and things in like India, for example. They're like they are terrorizing tourists, but taking a baby is like a whole new low. And like I I feel like I would need to be armed in a
Yeah,
situation that
monkeys.
has like
Because monkeys are
monkeys
bad,
running
man.
wild.
That's why this like debate has been going around now. If 100 guys can beat up a gorilla, and I'm like, I don't know about that. Fucking gorillas are crazy, but chimpanzees are fucking wild, and they have crazy good stamina, and they're so strong and vicious. So yeah, no, I do not.
Well, I think these might have been rhesus monkeys of some sort. Like I don't even
Yeah,
think that they were chimps, chimpanzees, but
they're all crazy strong though. Like, in comparison to us, too, like there's nothing, and it's just crazy. Ooh, monkeys are also like very jealous and territorial, and it wouldn't shock me if they knew exactly what they were doing. They were fucking
yeah, oh, totally. I saw this video of this young child that fell over a wall into a like gorilla pit and immediately knocked himself out. And this like mama gorilla scooped this baby up in her arms and like just held him and like rocked him and was like so gentle with him and so concerned. And I thought, okay, like the maternal instincts are beautiful in this creature. And then people were like, should we shoot I don't know if they shot the gorilla or not. I hope they didn't, or maybe they tranquilized it, but they were like, the potential that could happen is scary, but it's nice to know that this gorilla's instinct was very sweet, gentle in nature and maternal. So I kind of expected all apes to be as maternal, but it's not maternal to throw a child off a roof. That's really bad.
yeah, no, that's fucking wild, crazy monkeys. Wow, that just added a new fear because I love monkeys.
Oh, I did
Woo.
until last night when I found this article. I was like, no way. So that was a little while back. That was in 2002, July 2002. No, sorry,
Those
July 2022. So just 3 years ago.
damn, those goddamn monkeys. Those goddamn
Anyway,
apes on a plane or Planet of the Apes. I don't know. Anyways, now that I fucked up two references, I'll just keep it moving. So, for my first one, uh, this one is
this one's
this is
so
crazy
scary. This is so
because
scary.
this is something that I used to think was like an unreasonable fear of mine. And whenever I would open the toilet, I would always look inside because I was worried exactly something like this. And I told someone this fear once, and they laughed at me. They're like, "That's the dumbest shit I ever heard. That would never happen." And I was like, "Really?" And I let it go until I
Ugh.
found out this story, and now I'm like, "What the fuck?" Because this happened in Thailand in 2016 when there was a toilet attack by a python. And it happened to my boy Adaporn Boon Mac Choi. And I never thought that was a real name. Adaporn.
At
Good
a
name.
porn.
Adaporn. Yeah. Adaporn, boy. That
Where
ass
did you where did
play.
you, where did you
Love
get
it.
that STD? At a porn.
Where did you learn those moves? Adaporn.
Yeah.
But anyways, Adaporn Boon Mac Choi woke up early in his Bangkok home. Bangkok. He went to the bathroom, unaware that there was a fucking 11-foot massive python that had slithered up through the septic plumbing. The moment he sat down on the toilet, it struck.
Oof.
latching onto his genitals with brutal force. Screaming in agony, Ataporn grappled with the snake, holding its head and keeping it from dragging him into the bowl. His wife and neighbors rushed in. Together, they tied the snake with a fucking rope. However, it took over 30 minutes to pry its jaws open. Ataporn survived with serious injuries, but doctors stitched him up. Ataporn. The snake, it also survived, which some of you might be lucky or happy to know. Officials captured it and released it back into the wild, unharmed. However, the man's balls, I think it's safe to say that his hard-boiled eggs look like scrambled eggs these days, but that's just a wild guess for me. And I'm sure the snake now developed a taste for wild nuts. I'll see myself out. I'll see myself out.
I think he's craving Fruit Loops all of a sudden.
That's right. Ooh. Can you imagine, though, dude?
I'm 12 feet tall, so this snake is almost double the length of me. And
you're not 12 feet tall. You're 6 feet tall.
I'm 6 feet. Oh yeah, I'm 6 feet tall. So this snake is almost double the length of me. That's a big fucking snake, and he's lucky it was just his balls.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
the wiener could have been taken away, could have been ripped off. But
like
the thing is, just imagine someone grabbing your balls with their hand and just squeezing them as hard as they can,
not letting go.
And now just imagine them doing that for 30 minutes. Yes,
ooh,
and multiply that force at least by 2, because that fucking snake, those things are like chokers, and then they latch on tight. And I mean, it took 3 people to get its mouth open, so that thing was on there. And also, I'm like, ew, I think snakes are so icky. I can't imagine trying to
I'm surprised that the officials didn't let the man kill the snake, because if something's going to bite my balls, I feel like I reserve the right as a man
just chop off its head
to retaliate in some capacity.
However, the thing is, the snake is in the toilet too. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's not even like it's out. So you're just kind of sitting there, and like the most you can do is kind of get up a little bit, but you don't want to get up too much because the snake is like, like doing a little tug of war action with your balls.
Yeah.
So like, ooh, what can you even do?
And I would hope that they would like put some sort of procedure in place to prevent this from happening again. So maybe, I don't know, they have to put like netting or gating or like a grate, or like, I don't know if it's something.
You can't put a grate, because what if you have a big poop?
Oh, true. Oof, I don't know, but they have to figure out something.
Yeah. No. I did once. This happened in my apartment in Towson. I went to pee, and then I looked in the toilet, and there was a mouse in it, dead. And I think the mouse fell in.
Oh, of course.
And, died in there. But I was like, ooh, and I'm just like, well, what do? I don't want to fucking reach that out. Ew. So I just flushed it and hoped for the best. Luckily, it was small, so it's like, ew. I was like, I don't know. It's not my fucking plumbing. I'm out of here.
Well, I can tell you that the first guy I ever kissed, the first like guy, like I was 20, I think I was 22 or 23, and I remember I went to his apartment and we made out, and I crashed there. And then that morning, he accused me of pooping in the toilet and leaving it. And I was like, first of all, I would never do that. Like, I've had to go since last night, and I just don't feel comfortable doing it at your house. So I've been holding it. And second of all, if I did do it, of course I would flush. Like, I'm not an animal.
Right.
So I went to go look at it. I was like, well, maybe if it looks familiar, maybe it was me, because I was drinking. It's like, maybe it looks like one of my poops. So I went to go look at it, and it was a mouse. And I was like, whoa. I didn't put any mouse in my butthole and then pushed it out in the toilet.
Not this week. That was last week.
Ay, Dios mío. Okay, well, next that I have is a really scary story. You ever heard of the Battle of Ramree Island?
I have, and I'm so happy you put it on your list because this shit is wild.
Okay, so for our listeners who went to puppet school and may not know the specifics of World War II, so I think when people think of World War II, they think Nazi Germany. But there were a few countries that weren't very nice. And one of those countries was Japan.
Right.
So, like my best friend in high school, her family's from Korea, and her grandfather spoke fluently in Korean and Japanese because of the influence that Japan had over Korea at one point. You know what I mean? So anyway, in uh, January of 1945. Well, let me start with this. There's a Japanese invasion of Burma, as a country in Asia, in early 1942. And then uh, this island of Ramree Island, I think, is part of Burma. So it had been captured by the Japanese. In 1945, in January, forces of the Indian XV Corps, I guess that's
15 cores.
15, Indian
Yes.
15 Corps,
That's right.
landed on Ramree Island and the neighboring island of Chaduba to establish airfields for the supply of the mainland campaign. So the battle is known for claims that hundreds of Japanese soldiers were killed, were like savagely torn apart by crocodiles in the mangrove swamps of Ramree Island. Some editions of the Guinness Book of World Records have described this as the highest number of fatalities in an animal attack ever. Some places disprove this, but I mean, who really knows?
No, but
But
here's the
can you
thing,
imagine?
and it's this is the highest number of fatalities in an animal attack at a time, because these people did die. Like hundreds of soldiers fucking died at the hands of these crocodiles. Uh, and the wild thing is that the swamps in this area are a perfect habitat for these crocodiles. So they're known to have like a pretty high life expectancy compared to crocodiles in other areas. So there's crocodiles alive today that actually were those crocodiles that ate those people, and they're
Oh,
still out
wow.
there to this day, thriving, waiting for their next meal.
Let me tell
It
you,
might be you.
these crocodiles, they ate good this season. They
They
were
ate
like,
good.
yum.
They ate
Like,
real
what did we do
good.
to deserve this? What a gift. Thank you, Jesus.
Yeah. Now, were they hungry 15 minutes later though? That's the question. I don't
I mean,
know.
can you imagine walking to your house, like your home, because this swamp is these alligators' home. Can you
Yeah.
imagine walking into your home and like having a gazillion like burritos at your disposal?
Yeah.
I love
Literally.
Chipotle burritos. I like the sofritas
I would
specifically, but
fucking go
like, can you
in.
imagine just like your favorite food just being surrounded and being like, oh wow, like
And
this is
here's the thing.
amazing. I don't have to
There
cook, I don't have to prep, I don't have to buy anything. It's all
Yeah,
just
it's all right
free,
there.
good home cooked meals.
And it has like food on top of it as well, because whatever they were, the rations they were carrying on them. But here's the thing: the ratio of crocodile to man in that swamp was so high that like you wouldn't just get mauled by one as you would be dying. You'd fucking like one would take you down by the leg and you'd be sitting there screaming, and then another one would come out and take your arm, and the fucking one would bite your goddamn head. And you're fucking like, ah, like would fucking get torn apart by
Oh
more than
yeah.
one. Like it was brutal. So
Remember
ugh,
in Jurassic Park, the first one, like I was like, oh, the raptors, they charge in groups. So like one will
yeah,
distract you, then two more will come on the sides. Like
yeah,
that is it's like modern day Jurassic Park in a swamp.
yeah. Seriously, and usually alligators are very territorial and they do their own thing. But like again, there's so many there. They just whatever falls in, you're fucking fucked.
Well,
And
one
here's the thing: it's bad enough during the day while they were dealing with this, but imagine at nighttime, which is also when the alligators are out looking for food as well,
yeah.
and you can't see anything. You can't see an inch in front of you, and you're just fucking surrounded by these things who know you're there and they're hungry. Woo!
Um I I think one could argue that these alligators were on the right side of history. for eating the
Yeah,
Japanese
right.
at that time.
These were some red-blooded American alligators. They got their citizenship real fast after the conflict. Yeah, no, dude, that is fucking wild. I'm glad you put that on your list because that is like straight out of my nightmares.
Yeah.
But anyways, up
Anyways,
next, we would be remiss on this list if we didn't include this animal attack. But it isn't just a regular anime attack. No, this happened the year that I graduated high school and entered college, and it was the year
I
that we
was probably
lost a
30.
legend, fucking legend, man, the one and only Steve Irwin, aka the Crocodile Hunter.
Yeah.
He was the best, and he was out there filming a documentary called Ocean's Deadliest near the Great
So
Barrier
ironic.
Reef. I know, kind of two in the nose there. However, he was swimming in shallow water when he swam above a short-tailed stingray that was over 7 feet wide. Suddenly, the stingray struck him right in the chest, hundreds of times in rapid motion, one barb piercing his heart. His cameraman later revealed that Steve pulled the barb out himself before losing consciousness.
Oh.
Efforts to revive him failed. The stingray swam off and was not pursued. Steve's family refused any retaliatory action. In fact, the public was asked to not harm stingrays, though several were found killed in the days after. Steve Irwin's death was ruled a tragic accident and the only recorded fatal stingray attack in Australian history. His legacy lives on
That's
through
the
his
only
family.
one?
Well, recorded. Like,
Recorded.
on tape.
I see.
His legacy lives on through his family and the wildlife conservation work he championed. He was the fucking man. And good to see his son is literally a spitting image of him, and it's like it's picking up.
He's a lot
picking up
cuter.
right where he left off. Well, he's younger too.
Yeah, he's a cute kid, and I think he did like
He's
an
so
underwear
great.
ad or something.
Oh God, well, I don't know
Recently.
that far.
You know,
Jesus,
you go for it. Whatever, all the money he's making, this is a nice family. All his proceeds are probably going to be funneled back into like wildlife preservation and whatnot. So like I say, while you're young, you got to flaunt it, make that money, help those animals, and like go ahead. You're like a superhero.
I can see him now. His underwear campaigns. Oi, here's a crocodile. Oi, here's a stingray. Oi, here's my cock. Haynes underwear.
I wonder if I can find Steve Irwin's son. I think it's Robert Irwin. So
That's
let me
right.
see. So I'm gonna
That's
type
right.
in Robert Irwin. I don't know, modeling. Let's see what comes up, and then I'm gonna send it to you. So he
Here, I see it.
You see
I
it?
see him with a snake and some fucking undies. Wow, he's ripped.
I know he's ripped. I mean, he's a good looking guy because I didn't think I adored Steve Irwin, but I wouldn't think of him as like a sex symbol. But I think that his son could potentially be like an up and coming sex symbol.
It's funny. He kind of looks like boxing champion Canelo Alvarez.
Okay.
Very fit.
And
I had
his
no
mom
idea.
is pretty,
Jesus.
and
His mom's a babe, and his sister is also a babe.
yeah, she's pretty too. So good for them. I'm happy that they're doing
They
well.
had
and
good genes. I mean, they had the most beautiful family, and God, I mean, it sucks that they lost their parent. Their dad's so young, but they both came out so good. And there's, it's awful that bad things happen to such good people because that's like you can tell it's just the best family, and they're just so goddamn sweet. And
Well,
nice.
I think. Well, I don't know what happens after you die. So I'm not sure people are able to look down on you or not. It's nice to think about. I would like to think that like that's not the end when you pass away and that you're alive and well in some capacity. So if Steve Irwin is able to like see what his family is up to, I think he would be so proud of his kid. I think he would be
Hell yeah.
so incredibly proud of the work that
Agreed.
his son has done.
Agreed. And the whole fam. But anywho,
Next up, I have a pretty like this is a freak incident story, but this one that would like terrorize me. I don't think I could like emotionally survive from this attack, which is such a freak accident. So this is regarding someone named Peggy Jones. This happened in August of 2023 when she was just doing simple yard work on her property in Texas. And mind you, that 2 years prior, she was bitten by a venomous snake and had to get treatment for it. So she's already
Jeez.
like deathly afraid of snakes because of what had transpired 2 years prior. So I guess like I'm not familiar with Texas, but I know that like when I've been in California and when I've been in like Arizona, that there are a lot of snakes and a lot of scary ones, specifically like rattlesnakes. But in Maryland, growing up, they were like an occasional copperhead, which were scary. But they tend to like leave you alone. At least you couldn't hear it, So you don't know, you don't know. But this woman was doing yard work in her yard. Uh, all of a sudden, she saw something fall from the sky and hit her arm. As this thing wrapped around her arm, she realized it was a snake. So she screamed for her husband and began shaking her arm to remove this, basically like a
Oh,
long, 4.5 foot long snake. This
gross.
this only like angered the creature. So it tightened its grip and began striking at her face, hitting her glasses. So I this snake was in the talons of a bird, a hawk, and the hawk lost its grip and the snake fell on her. But the snake was already probably traumatized by this like ordeal that I guess it took out its anger on her arm. Just wanted to be like just secure in some capacity because it just had like a near death experience. So the situation got even stranger in a matter of seconds when this like huge brown and white hawk swooped down from overhead and joined this like turmoil. So the hawk had been flying overhead with the snake, its meal, and its talons, like I said, and had inadvertently dropped it. It had now returned to claim its dinner. It was like, whoa, whoa, whoa! I'm territorial. That was mine. I found it. I want it back. So as the hawk attempted to grab the snake, its talons scratched the fuck out of Peggy Jones's arm. Um, lifting it into the air. So eventually, the bird managed to uncoil the snake and fly off with it, leaving Jones's slashed, um, punctured, and bruised arm. So she went to the hospital to get her arm checked out. So like most of the damage wasn't from the snake. I think the snake repeatedly trying to strike her in the face um, is enough to like traumatize you for life from an emotional standpoint. But as far as physical injuries were concerned, that was all from the hawk
To
and
be
its claws
fair,
and beak.
the hawk saved her ass for fucking life. The hawk came in, beat the shit out of that snake. I don't see the husband get anything done. If anything, the hawk should have been like, "You're welcome," as it flew away. But that's just me.
I mean, if the snake was poisonous, yeah. So who knows? I don't know what kind of snake it was, but this poor woman, I can't imagine a scarier freak accident regarding wildlife.
Yeah, no,
Just to
fuck
be in the comfort of the privacy of your own yard, your own home, and a snake of all things. I'm terrified of snakes. A snake to fall out of the sky
yeah, fuck
and to
that, dude.
attack you, and then another animal coming out of the sky mad at you for taking a snake when you didn't take anything. You had no thought process about you, literally just a bystander, and this huge like bird of prey is accusing you of trying to steal its dinner and then trying
Yeah,
and then having beef with you. Like this sucks all around.
yeah, no, not good. Not good at all.
Yikes. Horrifying.
Not good at all.
Anywho, what's next on your list?
Anyways, this next one is a horrifying one, and I was talking about chimpanzees. Now you know
Yeah.
why I respect them so much. This one is the attack of Travis the chimpanzee, which happened in Connecticut in 2009. And Travis was a 14-year-old chimpanzee raised by Sandra Harold
Do
as
you
her
say
companion.
chimpanzee or do you say chimpanzee?
Chimpanzee. That's how you should say it. I said it weird. My foreignness came out.
Your foreigners
Chimpanzee.
did come out.
Chimpanzee. Yeah. But
Chimpanzee.
he appeared
Chimpanzee.
in TV commercials. He literally used the toilet like a little human and lived in her home. However, on February 16th, 2009, Travis escaped with Sandra's car keys. And when her friend Charla Nash arrived to help, Travis turned fucking violent, and he
Uh-oh.
attacked Charla with terrifying ferocity, tearing off her face, her lips, her nose, her eyelids, and both fucking hands. 911 calls captured Sandra screaming, "He's eating her!" Police came finally, and after a few minutes, he had done that damage. And they shot Travis multiple times when he charged her vehicle. He fled inside the house after he was hit a few times and then proceeded to bleed to death. And here's the crazy thing is, they thought that she was dead, and all of a sudden Charla Nash moved. Charla Nash survived the attack, but required a full face and hand transplant. And of course, after such a horrifying ordeal, the attack ended up raising a lot of national awareness about the dangers of keeping primates as pets. And the crazy thing is, no charges were filed though. No new laws were enacted, and Travis's death basically ended a long and troubled attempt to humanize a wild creature, because he apparently was like very jealous, and there were things. That's the thing about chimps; they're extremely jealous creatures. So do you think that you spite them, they get fucking revenge, and they wait for it. Oh yeah, I see the picture you sent me. That's terrifying. Like, look at those teeth.
Yeah,
dude.
I just sent. Yeah, I just sent a picture of a chimp's teeth, because I wouldn't think that they have like razor sharp like bicuspids or like what.
No,
It's like
those
their teeth
motherfuckers.
are similar to that of like a canine or like a feline. You know.
And they fucking like maul you, and they'll just start rah, rah, and they start ripping out your fucking shit, like you rip someone's fucking like her entire face, nose, ears, eyes. Ooh,
You know,
the
I would.
eyelids, bro. Imagine someone ripping off your eyelids.
Oh gosh, I
Oh,
horrifying. You know, I think that I mean, I don't know what it's like to be in that position by any means, but I would assume that this woman's Charla, her friend, uh, was probably super close with Sandra. I mean, Sandra probably called her best friend that she trusts the most, like, "Hey, this is a situation." So Charlie came over, and she's aware that this chimpanzee Travis is probably comparable to like a child of Sandra. So not just a pet, but like almost like a child. So like when he started to get aggressive, Charlotte probably held herself back. I think that her gut was probably like, "I'm going to defend myself," but probably held herself back out of respect to her friend Sandra for not wanting to like strike or hit what is presumably like her child, so to speak. Do you know what I
the
mean?
crazy
Like,
thing is,
if let's say if your dog snapped at me, I would never smack your dog across the face. I would just like
yeah,
jump up and like walk away, because that's not my place to discipline someone else's like pet or
totally,
child. You
totally.
know?
But the crazy thing is, even if that lady would have tried doing anything, there's nothing that she could have done at all to hurt that monkey or to get it off. Like chimps are so much stronger than humans. And again, she's like a fucking lady in her 50s, 40s. Like she's not. This isn't like maybe an MMA fighter could try to hold her own for 3 seconds. The
Yeah.
chimps are fucking wild and they're vicious.
But I wonder like
So-
how much she tried to diffuse the situation instead of just removing herself from the situation. Like,
Oh
like
yeah.
the moment like a chimp runs after me, I think we could
I don't get out
potentially
of the car.
outrun. I don't know if we
Yeah,
could
no.
outrun, but I would try to outrun this animal. But I wonder if she just underestimated it and thought like, let me see if I can try to diffuse it. Like I have a
Yeah,
rapport with
totally.
it.
Agreed. But I don't get out of the car. The moment the owner of this chimp can't control this chimp, I'm like, you got to call animal control. What the fuck? If you can't control your own chimp, what do you expect me to fucking do? Hell no. And I know enough about chimps to know you don't want to fuck with them. So I'd be like, nope. You call animal control like a normal ass person and lose this number. Fuck no. No way.
Yeah,
That's imagine having to live after that.
Ooh, I don't know why I would do that in that situation, but I don't think I would be in it. If my friend was like, my chimp is like going crazy, can you come help? The answer is no.
No.
No, I don't think so. I think I'm busy
There's
today.
certain
I have lots
things where
going on.
friendships should not be asked to do, and protecting you from your fucking crazy monkey is one of them. That's where I draw the line. Leave me alone.
You know what? One time,
Call an expert.
my grandma was about to change his diaper, and he this is my dad's parents, and he knocked her over, and he was like, "Who are you?" He had crazy dementia, and then it ran off. This is in the winter. He runs down the
No.
street, and my grandma, who had just recovered from 2 hip replacement surgeries, struggled to get off the floor and then motion over to a phone to call my parents and be like, "I lost your granddad. I lost your father." It's my dad's father. So it was my grandfather. And so we all like went to grandma's house and we split up and went up and down the streets looking for an old man with a poopy diaper. And I think that eventually cops were called to one residence like a few streets away because some crazy man was trying to get in. And so like I know like this is a family situation and my grandfather was violent towards the end. Like I would never ever expect someone who's not direct family to assist me in this. Like
Mm-hmm.
I would never put a friend or
Yeah.
neighbor in what could potentially be a violent situation. So
Mm-hmm.
like I was like whatever, like my
I
dad
wouldn't even put a
has to do.
significant other. Like, fuck
Yeah,
no.
like this is my grandpa's blood. Like he changed my diapers at some point. Like I owe it to him to try. So I feel responsible, just like
Right.
my sibling and my parents. But I wouldn't call like you and be like, hey, can you help me find my violent grandfather
Yeah,
who's
no.
rocking a poopy
He's
diaper?
yeah, he's got shit all over himself. Just watch. Don't let him touch you.
Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah. Well, that's terrible. Anyways,
Anyways,
oof.
so next
On to the
up
next
on
one.
my list, this
You
is
just got 2
scary.
more.
So there I think this started off in Bangladesh. Do you ever heard of a Bengal tiger? I think Bangladesh is
Yeah,
known
of
for these like
course.
beautiful, huge tigers. And these like
Well,
huge
there's stripes
tigers,
and stuff.
yeah, and these huge tigers might even be bigger than like a lion. I don't know what the difference
Damn.
is, but I think these tigers are like the true like king of the jungle. Um, let me see.
I got it. You keep
You
moving.
got it? Tiger versus lion?
Yeah, they're not generally bigger than an African lion,
Yeah.
especially in terms of length and average weight. However, some lions, particularly from certain populations, can be larger than some individual tigers. So it just depends. But yeah, Bengal tigers are big motherfuckers.
So, so the record holder for human kills by a single animal belongs to this like Bengal tigress, known as the man eater of Champawat. And this is because of 436 documented kills under her name.
Damn.
This is like over 100 years ago. So in the late 1890s, this this tigress, was injured likely by a shot to the face by a hunter. So this broke her canine teeth on the right side, restricting her ability to hunt a tiger's normal prey. So she turned to what was more of an easy catch, humans. I mean, think about it. Like,
Ooh,
I know
yeah.
humans, we're intelligent, which makes us dangerous, but like we don't
Also, we're
have like the
dumb.
physical features to really defend ourselves. Like,
Totally.
we don't have the barbs of a porcupine. We don't have the speed of like a gazelle to run away. We don't
Yeah. Our
have
skin
like,
is weak.
yeah, like so we're not rocking like fangs or claws or whatnot to truly defend ourselves in the animal kingdom. Um, this tigress's attack started in Nepal. Oh, maybe I'm wrong about saying Bangladesh. She started in Nepal, and she eventually moved to neighboring India. She outsmarted multiple attempts to capture her and moved long distances at night to hunt various villages. So this guy, he was um, not necessarily a professional hunter, but a very skilled marksman. His name is Jim Corbett. He was recruited to take down this tiger in 1907. He would eventually be successful just after the tiger made her 436th known kill. These are just the known deaths that we know of that were documented. It may have been more. So he went on record saying he was disturbed by the fact that human injury had likely caused the tigress to turn to consuming people, contributing to his interest in wildlife conservation in future years. So, like, a lot of people feel like um, a lot of animals are um, turned to human prey because they almost get too comfortable around humans. Like bears, for example. Like there is a lot of people who've been eaten by bears, and I think it's because like restaurants or like, I don't know, civilians, they will like throw out scraps because they think they're doing something nice to feed these bears. But then these bears just get a little bit too comfortable on like human property. And so
Totally, and then they start
instead of
coming back.
relying on their like hunting skills, they just wait for like these table scraps. I'm sure like human food smells and it's pretty good, you know? And
Totally.
so what happens is you got, you know, people hiking by themselves, wrong place, wrong time. And what does a bear do? The bear sees a person and associates that with food. So I think
Totally.
that this, yeah, I think that there's something true about that. When there's human interference, like it turns these animals into opportunists, and I blame humans. You know,
Right. Yeah, crazy shit, man. So don't feed the animals, you weirdos. Looking at you, Florida. But
yeah.
anyways, for this next one was so wild that it led to the creation of a little known movie called Jaws.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. This is the Jersey Shore shark attacks in 1916. Yeah, that's right. Jaws is based on a true story, motherfuckers. And this took place again in the blistering heat of July 1916. There was a heat wave at the time. So the people in New Jersey sought refuge in the ocean, unaware of the terror that swam beneath them.
Dum dum dum.
First things
The
first.
music from Jaws makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up.
Mm-hmm. But we are not copyrighted to use it, so
Understandable. I'm just saying,
pretend that.
like
Just pretend that we are using it, but we're not using it.
But this story, I'm just saying, like, can you imagine like a story with there's just like the song associated with it or whatever to still like elicit such a strong visceral response? Like, this is scary.
Yeah, for sure.
Whew. Anyway,
So,
sorry.
As I was rudely interrupted.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Up first, a man named Charles Van Sant was attacked in Beach Haven, New Jersey. He was pulled from the water with his leg torn wide open. He ended up bleeding out on a hotel lobby floor, waiting for help. Days later, another man, Charles Bruder, was killed off Spring Lake with his legs totally severed and his blood staining the water completely red. Now here's where the story gets even crazier. Then the unthinkable happened. A shark swam into the Matawan Creek, 16 waters inland, which is fresh water, where it then attacked an 11-year-old boy named Lester Stillwell. And when others tried to recover his body, another boy, Stanley Fisher, was killed. So here's the thing. When Lester went in there and he was killed, no one believed that it could be a shark or that it could even be nearby. So someone else went in there, grabbed the body, and boom, another fucking murder by a shark. A panic erupted. Townspeople literally armed themselves with rifles, hunted the water. Eventually, in a nearby bay, a great white shark was caught and killed. Its stomach contained human remains. Some scientists believe it was the lone culprits. However, others insist that it was a bull shark, more suited to freshwater, because bull sharks famously move to freshwater to give birth to their pups, because it's safer there than in the sea, and they have it in them to survive in both types of water.
Okay.
Don't. So the truth may never be known, but the shark paid the ultimate price. It was killed, it was dissected, and it became placed in horror legend. I think that this could easily have been a case of two sharks, especially if they ended up catching a great white, and they know it was a great white, and had human fucking leftovers, arms and shit, human remains. That's the word I was looking for. Inside of it, it could have easily been two sharks, but the thing is, like, it's crazy that it was again in the middle of a fucking heat wave, so people are getting in the water because it's so goddamn hot. And imagine you want to get in the water so bad, but people are fucking dying. What do? It's like, ooh. And that's when people started figuring out that bull sharks could survive in fresh water too. At the time, no one really knows much about sharks, especially leading up to when the movie Jaws came out. There was actually very little research available on sharks at the time. So Jaws actually led to a lot of sharks actually being hunted and shit because people didn't understand them or scared of them, but actually a lot of interest in sharks, which led to a lot of research being done on them. So it was some good and bad that came out from this and the story of Jaws.
Um, you know, a lot of animals, once they're full, they're good. Like
Yeah.
a snake, eats once a blue moon. Once when it's not gonna start killing people at random. It doesn't care. Like it just eats. It just like kills to eat. You know,
Yeah.
like like a lion, for example. They hunt in groups. They bring food back. All the lions eat, and they're just not killing for the sake of killing for sport. They're killing to eat. Um, but for this potentially lone shark, just to kill for the sake of killing, it can't be that hungry. It can't eat a person after a person after a person because it's that hungry. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Well, that also adds more to it being a bull shark, which actually makes me think it's two sharks because the whole first thing that with the first attacks that were actually in the ocean, which led to them catching a great white, that shark was pushed that close to shore because it got lost. There were some storms and shit leading up to this heat wave that pushed this shark out of its normal route, and basically the current fucked them up. And this was a shark that was very disoriented. However, in the lake side, I really think it was a bull shark because bull sharks are already extremely aggressive sharks. They'll eat anything. Like they'll find fucking like license plates in the bull shark's stomach, but they're very aggressive as it is. And two, like I said, they tend to go to freshwater to give birth and take care of their pups. So not only is it already an aggressive shark, but it's there protecting their babies. So you jump into that water, whoever the fuck it is, mama shark is gonna fucking come at you.
Yeah.
So that's why I really do think it was two sharks. I'm with the scientists that believe there's more than one shark, just because a great white wouldn't have been in that creek. It would have been way too big to be in that creek. So I do think it was two sharks, but the crazy weather conditions definitely cost it. And it gave her. There were way more people out at sea, and it was just bad place at the wrong time. But we can't forget that the water is their home. So
Oh, totally. Like I'm not like after like these
unfortunate.
stories, like I have no interest of swimming. When I was younger, I would go boogie boarding. I loved the ocean. I would go in there overhead deep, swim around like a little fish. I love to swim.
Yeah,
Um,
not
but
anymore.
but now like as I'm older, I'm like, no, I'm not interested. Like I
Fuck
maybe ankle
no.
deep, but if I can't see in the water, I don't know what's in there, and there's
Yeah,
so much at risk, you know. And like
agreed.
there's, I have a coworker in Australia who told me that in Australia you have like jellyfish that will paralyze you. You know,
Oh hell
this
yeah, and
like
kill
it's
you on the
hard
spot.
to
That's
avoid these
awful.
jellyfish, and they have like this surfing culture. I'm like, what? I could never. Knowing what I know,
Yep,
no way.
yep,
Now
and
I
crazy
when I go to
sharks, salt
Chicago,
crocs.
I go to the beach and I'll swim out deep because there's no sharks in Lake Michigan. There's no jellyfish. There's a lot of like weird fish and you know there's a lot of bird poop. That's why like the bacteria levels get high sometimes. So they'll tell you on any given day if it's a code red, yellow, or green. And green means it's safe to swim. Yellow's like at your own risk, but red's like
A
do
lot of
not get in the
pee.
water. Yeah, but a lot of like birds poop in the water, I think, or
Ugh.
poop, and then after a rainstorm, it goes into the water, and then it ruins like the
Blah.
bacteria levels. So
So there's no
anyway, I
sharks, just
I only
shit.
went in the water on green days. So anyway, um, but if I can't see through the water, I don't want to swim in there.
Yeah, and you never want to swim at dusk either, because that's when sharks hunt. So early morning, late afternoon, something. Stay out of the water, people. If you take anything, stay out of the water. But
Yeah.
anyways, we're
Well,
each
this is
down
my
to our
last
final
one.
story.
My
What you
final
got?
one. It touches a little close to home because I loved this movie called Free Willy as a kid.
Oh yeah,
Um, and so like an orca whale. Are those the whales that are like black and white?
that's right. They are just like me, and I
Are
sang the song for Free Willy. I didn't know it was about a whale. I thought it was on me and Macaulay Culkin. Oh,
they
Michael, come
also
on.
known as killer whales?
That's right. They are killer whales, and they are indeed vicious killer whales actually kill great white sharks
Yeah.
and take their fucking livers
Yeah.
just for that. They come and fucking eat their livers and then leave the shark there and just swim away. And now they've been, for sport, taking down boats in the last couple of years have been the thing that they've been targeting humans. So yeah, they're the killer whales are fucking vicious. They're very cute in movies and shit. And there's been very rare human attacks, fatalities from killer whales, but I would never fuck with a killer whale. And they hunt
No
in
way.
pods too. So they're
They do.
vicious killers.
Like if you've ever seen like cute little like sea lions or seals, whatever,
Yeah,
with little
those motherfuckers are
whiskers,
vicious too.
they eat those. You know,
Yeah.
if a seal jumps onto your boat to escape killer whales, it will behoove you to knock that seal off your boat
Yeah,
because they will like capsize your boat.
totally,
If it was a small boat, you know what I mean?
totally.
Save
Terrifying
yourself,
shit.
drop your butt and run. So anyway, this story is about Shamu, who killed a trainer in front of a crowd. So everyone watched
Ugh.
this.
Ugh.
So before we get into like the specifics, I just want you to know that this orca whale, his name is Tilikum,
Yep.
but we know it as Shamu. But the Tilikum was captured in 1983 and was just a 2-year-old little baby orca whale, and I think they're called calves.
I saw
Like when they're
Tilikum
baby.
once. Out
Oh, you
of
did?
porn, Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah, CMO.
I saw Tilikum splurge on my frying pan and make eggs for me.
That's right.
Uh,
Gross.
so I love some Tilikum in the morning. Okay, so so this Shamu was like a huge like star, like a main attraction in SeaWorld or Orlando, Florida. But what people don't know is that before this public like like killing, um, he had been involved in 2 deaths. So one was in 1991, which is like 8 years after he's been captured. And just keep in mind that like whales are insanely intelligent creatures, and so like they don't just acclimate to a new environment. They know that they were ripped out of their like natural habitat and put into captivity. So having free reign over like the entire ocean to them being like subjected to like an aquarium is quite cruel, especially to animals that know what's happening. I mean, I don't know if a goldfish with like a 3-second memory span is gonna be like that butthurt over like being put into like a fish tank, but an orca whale, absolutely. So anyway, um in 1991, a trainer slipped and fell into Shamu's pool, and Shamu and his 2 tank mates submerged and dragged her until she died several hours later. The second occurrence happened 7 years after this. This is 1998, when a 27-year-old man was found lifeless in Shamu's tank, draped over the whale's back when the staff arrived in the morning. So the man was covered in wounds and abrasions. So not only did Shamu kill this man, but also wore him like a cape. So SeaWorld kept both events under wrap, but the horror that happened in full view of spectators in 2010 would reveal Shamu's horrifying history and lead people to question whether or not, orcas should be kept in captivity at all. So what had happened was um, there was this trainer named Dawn. She's super experienced and has worked with him for a long time. She was at the edge of the pool feeding Shamu some fish as part of the Dine with Shamu show. So everyone was watching her feed this, what she thought was this sweet, wonderfully trained whale some fish. So Shamu suddenly grabbed her. Most claim that it was by the ponytail and then dragged her underwater, rapidly moving through the pool. So rescuers were able to get Dawn free due to the whale's super aggressive response. By the time that Dawn's body was recovered or removed from the pool, her scalp had been torn off, her spinal cord was severed, and her jawbone and ribs were fractured. So her cause of death is listed as blunt force trauma and drowning. But some were quick to label the whale a murderer. Many blame SeaWorld and similar businesses for their treatment of Shamu and other whales.
Whoa! It's not they. See, they had it all wrong. It wasn't the Dine with Shamu show. It was the Die with Shamu show. They just got the wrong sign up. But SeaWorld's not at fault here, duh. It was just little little typo, as they say.
And then there was this documentary called Blackfish in 2013 that
I
exposed consequences of keeping these super smart animals, specifically mammals, in captivity. And so a shark is a fish. A whale is a mammal specifically. So they give live birth. There's a lot more similarities between humans and these whales than whales to these sharks. Even though they swim and they can survive underwater, it doesn't make them dumb fish. I don't think of fish as being that intelligent. But whales absolutely.
It's terrible stuff, man.
So scary. But I support and defend the whales. I do.
Yeah, for sure. It should have never been kept in captivity to begin with, and I'm glad that it's becoming less of a practice as more people find out the horrific situations that these whales lived in. But this whole thing is so fucked up. And if you haven't seen Blackfish, it's still great. I know it's a few years old, but it's still very good. So you can catch up on why this shit's bad. But it's very scary stuff, this story. I can imagine being, a kid in an audience when fucking a giant whale just kills this lady. Woo! But anyways.
And then who goes to see those shows? Kids and their parents.
Yeah, exactly.
So
terrible.
A lot of children are forever traumatized because they watched this killer whale, known as a killer whale, kill a trainer, and they want to blame the whale. Why are you trying to domesticate something known as a killer whale?
Yeah, and it was a traumatized whale to begin with. So, yeah. But anyways, on to my final story, the number one, and this one is one of the scariest things I've ever heard of, because we've heard a lot about shark attacks, we've heard about people's legs getting ripped off. This one I'm calling the man inside the shark, and it happened in Australia in 2023, so just 2 years ago as of this recording. And this happened in Fremantle, Western Australia, to J.J. Osborne, John J.J. Osborne, who was 20 years old. And it was a calm morning in February of 2023. John Osborne was a 20-year-old Australian who set out for a solo snorkeling trip off the coast near Port Beach. The water that day was very clear, very peaceful, very beautiful by all accounts. However, beneath the surface, something was watching him. Witnesses on the beach saw the water suddenly boil. A great white shark, up to 15 feet long, breached from below. And literally, Osborne was lifted out of the sea in the shark's mouth.
Ugh.
It was so quick that when I say there was no time for him to react, there was no scream.
Maybe it's better that way. Take me out, make it fast.
Only the image. It's like oh shit, you're out. Only the image of a man being thrashed, then dragged beneath. Lifeguards and nearby boaters rushed to the scene, but there was literally nothing left. No body, no wetsuit, no gear, nothing. Only blood on the surface and a single floating flipper. For days, the search teams combed the coast. Then days later, a shark was caught several miles north during routine drumline inspections. Inside its stomach, to that moment, still fragments of wetsuit, bones, and human remains. And DNA confirmed the truth. Osborne had been fully consumed by the shark, making it one of the only documented cases in modern Australian history where a person had been swallowed nearly whole. The shark was, of course, euthanized, a grim necessity, authorities said, but the ocean kept its silence. And the shoreline of Port Beach would never feel quite the same.
I'm looking at a map right now. Fremantle, Western Australia. So that's like along the coast on the west side. On the east side towards the south is Sydney and Melbourne. Although I think they call it Melbourne. So it's I don't know anything about Australia other than Sydney, Melbourne, and a lot of animals that want to kill you. Like of all places, Australia has some of the most venomous, lethal, scary like animals. I don't think that we're supposed to inhabit Australia. I think we should just leave it alone.
Yeah, that's why it started out as a jail. It was like one of the most in-hospital places on Earth that somehow became a crazy tourist destination, like an awesome place to visit. And it is beautiful. It is amazing. You can buy a lot of cool stuff. There's a lot of cool art, great entertainment. But it's also filled with some fucking terrifying creatures. And that's why I'm staying put. Fuck that. I couldn't feel comfortable swimming in the beach in Australia, knowing that you could possibly get attacked by not just by a great white, but also a fucking saltwater crocodile, just like that. Yeah. It's almost like I don't even like going to Florida anymore, to the beaches anymore, just because I know that's what you can find. So I stay away from their homes. You know, I'll hang out by the pool. I'm cool. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, that was our list of the top 10 scariest, craziest, true story animal attacks that we could find here at the FratChat Podcast. However, like we said, we looked through a lot of stories to compile this list, so there's many, many more out there. So this is a topic we can definitely revisit. So let us know some of your favorite stories. Let us know. Shoot us an email. Or if you have any other topic ideas as well, shoot us an email, fratchatpodcast@gmail.com. And make sure you give us a follow on all social channels at FratChat Podcast. That's on Instagram. That's on Threads. That's on Facebook. That's on YouTube. You can also give me a follow as well. Check out my website, carlosgarciacomedy.com. Or check me out on social at Carlos Does the World. That's on Instagram. That's on TikTok, Threads, YouTube, Facebook. You can also check me out at Twitter/X at Carlos Does World. And last but not least, check out my buddy CMO over here at chris.moore.comedy on Instagram and TikTok and
OnlyFans.
That's right. And C Moore Comedy on Twitter/X. Oh, yeah. So, Mr. Mo, we have made it to the end, so it's time to go. So why don't you please get us out of here?
Well, it's such a nice day today, so I think I might go take a dip in the ocean and do a little swimming.
Yes, that's right.
So I motion to adjourn this meeting.
All right, you guys, of course, we'll be back next week with another edition of the greatest podcast in the history of podcasts in time. It's the FratChat Podcast. I'll see ya.
See ya.